Hello, I'm Luis Manuel Gallegos Perez, and I'm going to show you my dashboard. For this part, I have the insights of Gemini. These insights can be generated again if the user don't understands quite well. And these insights are meant to be non so technical, so everyone can understand it. But for example, if I want to update the Gemini response, I will click this button and it will call again the Gemini API. This Gemini API it's in N8N as was solicited. Um, Another important part of this is that we have the crimes committed in the last 30 days, and we can see that it has a decrease compared with the last period. And for example, this part is also important. The mean of the crimes committed has an increase. This is important because you can thought that it's all seeing this chart like it's going to be decreasing all the time, especially in this part, but it appears that it doesn't. So this is something important. This can mean also that we don't have all the info for October, November, and that kind of stuff can change this part. And we also have the day with more crimes committed, that it's Friday, and we have here the crime with more crimes committed. This one is familiar violence, and this one is very important because we can see that it has a lot of difference within the other crimes committed. Threats is the second one, but familiar violence is the top one with a lot of crimes. Uh, See here we have the top five that we were talking about, and we also have the tendency graph. This is important because you can see how this is going to be retake in analysis part with our Sarima AI. And this part we have the crimes that had raised from the total. These are the top five boroughs or alcaldía, and you have that in all of these, the crimes had an increase. This is very important. We need to address that part for security in Ciudad de Mexico. So that part is important. Next, we have the view that only has the police officer. You can put the password here, and you will have a prediction of one specific part. For example, I will choose the Tec de Monterrey, Ciudad de Mexico, and when you click here in this button you will find the direction and it will update the alcaldía and latitude longitude. You can select a crime. I will have this delito de bajo impacto, and for example for this part of the day you can see that you have a 51.5% of a violent crime, even though it was a delito de bajo impacto, non-violent crime. But in this hour in specific, it's quite big this part. So you can ask Jimmy why, and then the AI is going to start analyzing. We gave all this information. We sent a little bit more information so the agent can decide. Now it's done, and you can see that it generates a little insight that you can read, blah blah blah, and you can generate these feeder hotspots for the this specific date at 12 p.m. Like if you can see, it starts. Well, let it start. Um, okay. It starts at 12 p.m. It's midnight, so it's going to be a little dangerous. but it's a delito de bajo impacto, so it's not going to be a lot. You can see that if we go to 2 p.m., almost half of the day, you can see that we have a lot more, a lot less hotspots, and you can specify where do you want it. Um, 37 hours past the midnight of this day, we have these hotspots, and you can also uh, are going to see in map part a lot of more maps that are going to be useful. Now, for the analysis, we have this part that is very important. It's a note. This note says that when the police officers don't know the hour of the day that the crime was committed, they usually mark a period between 12 p.m. and 1 p.m. So that's a lot of noise that won't help the model. So I decide to erase that part, and that'll help us a lot to get uh, more specific model. And well, here in the other note, I explain how this works. This is the Sarima model, and it obtained this stability, this seasonality. I'm sorry. It's you can see that from Monday to Wednesday, Thursday, it's increasing the crimes. Then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and boom, then it goes low. This part it's almost the peaks that you can see in this part of the previous days, and this map also is told us that for the next days, for the next 5 months, we are going to have a decrease in the daily crimes. This part is very important. We also have some of the charts that are going to be retake in the other part. But this part is more for a technical guy that can understand this part. Here in the EDA, we have one part that is for me very important, the hypothesis. In this part, we can see that our hypothesis is not real. Why? Because a lot of crimes are more committed in the day. You can think that there are more violent crimes during the night, but I in a specific thing that there are more crimes during the day because a lot of families are going to work, going to school, going to a park, etc., etc., and there are a lot of more people in the streets. While in the night there are fewer, but maybe it's more dangerous in the night. But there are fewer crimes committed. I understand my data in this way, and I think that we can have more information with this part of the charts. This was one of the charts that was in analysis. You can change here. I want to only see violent crimes. For example, you can see that during the night. Well, actually, since 10 a.m. until midnight, it's very high violent part. We have almost a mean of uh, 50k, I would say, of crimes committed during that part. But here is the interesting part, the non-violent type. You can see that non-violent it's also very common at 10 a.m. I would address this like, for example, stole of a part of the car and blah blah blah. It's more common when the people are working and they can't see their car, or I don't know. It's more complicated to see all these crimes during the day because you're working, you're making other stuff. When you're sitting in your house and you can hear the alarm of the car, you can go and see. But in this case, these parts show me that in this moment of the day, it's difficult for the people to see. And we can see that from Monday through Friday, you can see that at 10 a.m. it's the most dangerous part of the day. So I want to recommend you that you leave your car in the street. And this is one of my favorite charts. Why? Because you can see here that, for example, in Cuauhtemoc, that is one of the most uh, crime, violent, um, boroughs of the Mexico City, you can also see that yes, it has a lot of crimes, but there are non-violent crimes. But you can see that Iztapalapa, for example, you have a great part of the violent and number of crimes. So Iztapalapa is one of the most violent, most friendly. You can said if you ask me for an answer right now that you need to have more focus on what's happening there. Another hotspot that I see that it's quite a bit threatening it's Milpalta and also Tláhuac because they have a few less of the crimes committed, but they are almost the most violent ones. For example, Milpalta, it's more violent than Iztapalapa. That it's important. Maybe it's because it's out of the usual city, blah blah blah. But this part is very important to address. And we have all the colonias or neighborhoods. I'm sorry. Um, the neighborhood centro is the most violent one. Uh, this is very important to address because there's a gap that is amazingly great between Centro and Agrícola Oriental. And I'll explain this map here a little bit more detail. Um, this map, what it does is it divides the crimes by the amount of crimes that are committed, but also by a category. You can say that patrimony crimes are the most common and you need to address this part, but then you see another one like family that only has one. And if you compare this box to these two, this one is the biggest one of all the map. This for me is the more important analysis that you can have because it gives you a lot of stuff that you can ignore. And if you address this insight, this map, you can have a lot of info. And for the main part, we have the maps. This is going to delay a little bit, but it's okay. This part, it's for me the most interesting thing that you can see because you can see that almost all the crime is in the central part of the Mexico City, but you can get closer and closer and closer and see how which specific parts are more violent. This is an historic map, so it has all the info from the data set, but this one is one of the special ones. For example, I'm going to pick 2023 and I'm going to animate. Also, this map has two settings, violent and non-violent or multi-category. Multi-category, it's a little bit more different, but if you get close enough, you can see different colors. You can see, like, for example, this crime right here and non-violent, for example, that it's only threats. Uh, this one is the one that you can understand a little bit more how the crimes are in certain zones, but this one gives you the violence of of the crimes that you have. Let's pick this year and animate this year. Now there's going to have a little delay of 1 second between each month, and you can see here how it changes, and here how many crimes were committed in that year and in that month. July, August, September, October. This part can give you some info of which are the months that are more violent. This is the same map that we saw in Alerta, but you have another filter here. The other one was for all the city. This one is for example, a theme that wants to only see Tlalpan. And now you generate the simulation. And okay, you can see that for the next 48 hours, for example, this day at this hour, we had these spots in Tlalpan. You can say, okay, 8 of the night, what are we going to see? Maybe more crimes, maybe less, the same spots, and we go 11 of the morning, almost midday. And there are no critic hotspots. And this one, it's one of the most complicated ones. From this day through 6 months, every day at this specific hour, there are going to be these hotspots. And let it run. And these are all hotspots for these days. From the next 6 months, at this hour, you are going to have this part of probabilities. And I add this part because I thought that it was important to know the borough and the street and the probability. And it's important to have the street because you can be more accessible in the part of exactly part of the city. And well, I think that's all of what we have here for the dashboard.